Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reimagine 2021, brought to you by Mousespell. I'm your co-host, Ashlie Meredith, and today we're bringing you a very special edition of our virtual blockchain conference series. This is our 10th anniversary event. We've been bringing you content and community virtually almost every single month since May 2020, and we're just so grateful for all the following you've built and that you all are tuning in. I'm pleased to introduce our next guest, Lin Dai, the co-founder of Tap Network, general partner at Chainlink Fund, and the CEO and co-founder of a new green NFT platform called OneOf. Welcome, Lin. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. So super exciting what you're working on. You have a very interesting background in entertainment and are now working on a green NFT platform. Before we dive too much into OneOf, as you know, we have a large university program. For any students who are tuning in, I really encourage you to head over to mousespell.university, sign up for some of our courses, check out our Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button. We're providing education and inspiration for people to go out there and build this technology. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your entertainment background and how you got into crypto, and for anyone else who has similar passions, how they might be able to do the same?
Yeah, so it's a funny story, and how I got into entertainment in the first place, and it started with kind of my university career. I was a tech nerd. I went to Carnegie Mellon University. So during college, I co-founded my first company out of my dorm, and we were building the first .com 1.0 type of web software. And one of the software we built was a kind of a reimagined digital magazine for teenagers. So like, back in the first .com days, the Reimagined magazine really is very close to what today we will call a social network, right? So we ended up launching that company, immediately attracted millions of teenagers from around the country. We actually eventually took that company public. It was crazy. All started from our dorm room at Carnegie Mellon. So that project really led us to a lot of the entertainment contacts. I mean, we were just college students, and but the content that the audience really want to hear about back in the first .com, for a teenager, that would be Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears. So we kind of went down that rabbit hole of getting to know a lot of the entertainment music companies. So at one point, I spent a little bit of time over at Viacom, MTV, and then eventually I got recruited by the company Alloy. So Alloy owned Gossip Girl, Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, all the teen kind of IP. So I was there really in charge of building a digital business for kind of what otherwise would have been a traditional media company, right? A very successful one. So we kind of leveraged a lot of these IPs into kind of digital property. We embrace some of the latest developments like YouTube multi-channel networks. So we start developing content as well as working with existing kind of content creators. So that was a very fun experience. And after that, I went over to the music company MS Communication owned a ton of different radio stations, but most notably Hot 97 in New York, and Power 106 in LA, which are kind of legacy, like the legendary hip hop radio stations, of the country. So the same thing, kind of really, helping traditional companies envision how they can get into the digital world. And we did a lot of live stream, did the first ever kind of concert live stream for Summer Jam, the biggest kind of hip hop festival at the time. Launched an app with Funkmaster Flex, which was like super fun. So so I think that eventually led me to kind of the conclusion that like, hey, like, I actually really missed the startup environment, right? So what I have built out of my dorm room, so kind of got back into the startup world, and eventually, on my journey met the VC Bill Tai. So Bill is a prolific investor and early VC in a lot of early blockchain projects. So this was about almost probably 6 years ago. I met Bill kite surfing. So Bill is a great kite surfer. So he was looking to host an kite surfing event in New York in the Hamptons. And then I basically raised my hand to like help organize it. And then part of the topic was at that kind of get together was really like, hey, how do we apply blockchain technology to music? So some of the early use cases, was very innovative, but I thought was a little early, right? So timing for technology is really important. A lot of the early kind of vision around how blockchain can help the music entertainment industry is like better management, better transparency around payments to artists, right? Royalty distribution. So I thought that was a pretty ambitious idea, but the existing powers to be, the music record labels, the publishers are going to be very resistant to it, right? So we were always searching for, like, I would say, what is the idea that really is going to be additive to the music industry and not cannibalizing existing business models or revenue streams. So eventually I ended up, instead of building a direct project, I built Tap Network. So I co-founded Tap Network, and Tap is a project where we B2B white label and build white label software blockchain using blockchain technology for some of the biggest companies. So that includes Warner Music Group is one of our client, and Uber is one of our client. The browser company, the privacy browser company, Brave, is one of our clients. So we basically went in there and basically really learned what these companies need and how, kind of working from the inside, how blockchain technology can help improve processes and industries. So now, fast forward to 2.5 years ago, me and Bill were both at this event, the Ocean Gala. So the Ocean Gala raises funds for ocean conservation, which is a big like passion point for both myself and Bill. And Bill came up to me and was like super excited. It was like, Lin, you had to take a look at these blockchain cats, right? So we're talking about crypto kitties. So at the time he made an investment in Dapper Labs, which is crypto kitties, and also eventually became they also launched NBA Top Shot, which is one of the biggest kind of NFT projects recently. So at the Ocean Gala, they auctioned off a special NFT crypto kitty that is the cat face and endangered green turtle body. Right. So, and that was auctioned off. And what's interesting is not how much it got auctioned off immediately, but the buyer could have then resold the NFT. And then a part of the resale royalty actually went back also to the foundation. So through the auction and through the NFT exchanging hands, the foundation was able to raise pretty big amount of funds to which actually helped. They spent on like helping preserving this green endangered green turtle nesting grounds and patrolling and make sure there's no poachers or other animals. So that was like really a light bulb moment that we're like, wow, this could be actually a brand new opportunity to create something that is collectible for the music industry, that is not cannibalizing existing streaming revenue, but also provide this opportunity for this secondary resale royalty, right? So if you think about that, like if Michael Jackson before he passed, signed a copy of the album Thriller and sold it to me for $1 million and said that was the only copy he was ever going to sign, right? And then I resold it years later for $10 million. There is no way the estate of Michael Jackson could actually receive anything from my resale. But that's different for blockchain. You can actually build into the smart contract the concept of a resale royalty. So this applies to music and also fine art as well, right? So a lot of any artists who when they're coming up really sold their earlier works for really pennies on the dollar sometimes, right? So what they're and it kills them to see like years later their work gets auctioned off at like Christie's or Sotheby's for like $10 million and they don't see any part of that. So that was a huge opportunity we thought for music. So we started building, kind of envisioning what NFT for music could look like. So that was almost kind of 2.5 years ago that led us down this path. And from early talks with the pioneers in the space, including the Dapper Lab guys, we thought, we kind of came to a conclusion the existing infrastructure, such as Ethereum, is not really built to optimize for the NFT experience, right? So, primarily for a few reasons, including specifically kind of the high minting costs, right? So the transaction cost on the chain is really high, and then the environmental impact for using kind of older blockchain technology that's based on proof of work, such as Ethereum, is really high. So that led us down the path of actually looking at some newer, innovative blockchain technology to leverage. And fast forward, that's 2.5 years of work and led us to today. We just recently announced OneOf on OneOf.com, which is kind of a new green NFT platform that's envisioned for specifically the music community, for artists and their fans.
Excellent. Well, that's such an amazing story. So if I could like tease out some of the things that you said there that might apply to people thinking about starting their own startups. I always think that the most exciting and interesting blockchain ideas come from people who went out into the world or worked in a specific industry and saw that a real problem or gap or need or value add that they could provide, and really thought about how blockchain technology applied to that. And like you said, this kind of pie in the sky, hopefully we'll get there someday, but maybe it's a little too early idea of being able to program royalties into any piece of content and always make sure that the creators are receiving dividends is kind of the big picture goal, I think, of blockchain, but maybe it's a little early. And so instead of focusing so much on disrupting an industry that has been working this way for decades, really trying to see where you can add value. And waiting for the right opportunity. Like you said, you were inspired seeing this ability to, program in donations or charitable giving into an auctioned item. And I think that's just such a great use case for NFTs, that you can create legacy by programming in what you care about into the things that you create and that gets sold. So that's super awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the NFT platform and the fact that you're marketing it as a green NFT platform. Were you always interested in conservation or environmentalism, or is this something that you've always kind of wanted to be able to integrate into your businesses, or what inspired the move to really focus on a green NFT platform?
Yeah. So I want to actually address one of your point earlier. So and then we'll talk about the green NFT and the genesis for that. So I think it's like any industry, right? Blockchain is so exciting. It's a brand new wave of technology that is going to fundamentally change everything we do, right? So just like any kind of wave of technology, early on, I think there need to be a healthy mix of, there are going to be some company that is just so bleeding edge and out there, and with the thesis of like just completely disrupting existing industries. I think that's actually healthy, because like if you don't have the kind of the technology mavericks that thinks they can change the world and do things completely differently, or break a lot of rules, or if you have the early group of technologists that's too concerned about the existing rules, then there's no like new industry to be forged, right? So I think specifically for this project, I mean, we kind of have a little bit of a benefit of the second mover advantage, right? So there are great companies like Dapper that's like out there for like 2.5 years doing this. We learned a lot from their kind of like wins and mistakes, right? So I think we can better formulate, hey, like yes, like the early adopter, the first like 500,000 people that have adopted this technology, what the behavior is, how do we envision the technology for now for mainstream adoption? How do we bring the next 100 million people onto blockchain, right? So now getting back to your question on the green ethos, so that is pretty core to kind of the founding of this company. Not only green, but also just giving back to the community. So what I've learned a lot from Beltai is really just use your superpower for the good of the world, really like how to and leave a place better off than when you first touched it. So that really resonated with me and my team. So we were always kind of thinking about like, blockchain in general is very democratizing, right? It's like financial power and control of your own assets and destiny, to the people, and not by institutions. So part of that is, we were really looking at how, every project we do I think first and foremost, we wanted to give back to the users, to the fans, to the community. So we recently kind of announced a partnership with Right Here, Right Now Alliance of the United Nations Human Rights Organization. So the whole idea is a part of the platform revenue will go to any could go to any charity of our artist partners, right? So if we announce all the partnerships with artists from Whitney Houston to John Legend to G-Eazy to Alesso, Doja Cat, her. Let's say if one of the artists want to donate, to one of their own charities, so we'll basically have a percentage of our platform fee goes towards that charity. But if the artist, doesn't have a specific charity in mind, so we will recommend basically that they support the Right Here, Right Now Climate Alliance, right? So that's a initiative, by the UN Human Rights to really rebrand climate change as a human rights issue, right? So because it disproportionately impacts the lower income countries, much more than kind of developed countries. So that's a huge issue for us. I think earlier versions of blockchain technology relies on kind of this concept of proof of work, which requires computers to solve very complex computational puzzles in order to win a chance to verify the transaction on a blockchain. So why would computer want to do that? When you are the verifier of a transaction, when you get the chance to write the next transaction onto the blockchain, you receive rewards from the blockchain in the form of Bitcoin or Ethereum. So that started kind of an arms race of who can build the most powerful computer or computer farm with very specific hardware requirements and ASICs chips that sucks up a lot of power. It was kind of I don't think the way that how much it has ballooned and the energy consumption was, I think is a little bit beyond kind of most people's earlier estimates, right? So now basically the Bitcoin network and the Ethereum network are sucking up the same amount of annual energy as like small countries or not so small countries. Now, since kind of, 2014, 2015, there are very significant proposals and concrete examples of how newer blockchains can be built on this proof of stake technology, which doesn't require heavy computation, puzzle solving. Instead, it requires kind of the verifier to put up collateral or stake, right? So if you are misbehaving or writing malicious, inaccurate data to the ledger, then your collateral is in jeopardy and could be taken away. So that's a much more energy efficient way of doing this, right? Actually writing verifying a transaction takes very little energy. So we knew this from very beginning, right? So at the time I was getting very involved in blockchain, this difference in technology already exists. So we're kind of aware of this from very beginning. So which was exciting that like even from the very beginning we debated kind of the energy consumption of Bitcoin. So we had this ethos of like, hey, if we're going to build a massive project that's going to impact the entire music and entertainment industry potentially, we need to do it in a responsible way, right? So allowing fans to collect a digital collectible from your favorite artist shouldn't take the electricity that powers your house for 4.25 days, which is like kind of the existing solution. The current platform built on Ethereum technology, just to create an NFT takes the power.
Is that how much energy minting an Ethereum NFT takes?
Yeah, it takes the energy of powering your house for 4.25 days. We basically kind of decided to build our technology on top of Tezos blockchain, which it'll take about the same energy of sending out a tweet to basically mint an NFT. So it's a huge difference. It's actually 2 million times more energy efficient. So that's basically, from the genesis of our company, we were very kind of focused on this mission. Right. So if blockchain technology can fundamentally change everything we do, we have to do it in a sustainable way. This cannot be like the Industrial Revolution. It's hugely changing people's lives, but like left us with a legacy of carbon pollution that we still don't really have a good way of dealing with yet.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%. I do believe that we use energy for things that we care about and that are important. And there's plenty of energy being used in traditional finance. And it might be valuable enough to have a network like Bitcoin, especially for securing and transferring value, to use that much energy. But for, day-to-day use and things like, if every single artist is going to put an NFT out there and start using this as a tool, we definitely need other solutions. And Tezos is great. We've got some people on the Mouse Belt team who are big fans of Tezos. And actually, the first NFT I ever minted, I was just trying to kind of learn the tools and technology, and was making a funny NFT as a joke for a friend. And I went on to one of the traditional platforms, and it was going to cost me $100 to make a joke. And so our teammate recommended the Tezos network, and I think it cost me like 4 cents or something to mint the NFT. So for any of the blockchain nerds out there, we are, gearing this content towards people new to the space. We want to educate people, but we also have veterans tuning in. Anything else you want to say about the Tezos network, why you chose that, and how the experience has been building on it so far?
Yeah, so it's been great. So we, Tezos, as early as I think 2014 or 2015, published their white paper. So they basically go, we'll get a little more nerdier for the hardcore crypto audience, they basically proposed this idea of a liquid proof of stake, which actually allows them fundamentally to do something no other blockchain can do, which is self-evolve. It's a self-amending blockchain, which means if the network community come to a consensus, right, with 80% or more consensus from the network stakeholders, the entire blockchain can upgrade without a hard fork. So on Bitcoin and on Ethereum, when there is either kind of vulnerability detected or new ideas need to be introduced, usually what ends up happening is the communities are split, right? So it's very personality driven. It's not democracy at all. It's like, two very famous kind of Bitcoin person or very famous Ethereum person arguing with each other, and then says like, hey, I am going to split off a hard fork the network, whoever agrees with me come over to decide of the chain. So that's kind of very problematic for many reasons. But for NFTs, it's just like it's an awful concept that like your one token is probably going to become two tokens, right? Something that is NFT is supposed to be the single source of like proving the digital authenticity of something. Now you have two things that can equally, arguably, to be just as authentic. So that doesn't work, right? So Tezos have this ability to self-amend, upgrade the entire chain without leaving anybody behind. It has successfully done so 6 times. It's in the middle of a 7th upgrade right now, which is tremendous, right? So there's no other blockchain that has kind of adopted itself like 7 times and incorporated the latest and the greatest ideas from other blockchains, right? So so the Tezos blockchain really actually had a chance to look at some of the latest innovations in the NFT space, including what the Dapper Labs guys did with Flow, and including some of the needs from that is envisioned for the blockchain ecosystem is like, hey, we really need a low transaction cost, right? So one of the upgrades last year was really to lower the transaction cost, right? Right now, I believe they're working on one or more upgrades that is going to significantly also increase the throughput and number of transactions that can be processed. So on that front, I think Tezos has this little bit of an edge of what I call it's a super chain. It can just basically absorb the best ideas from other chains and always be future proof, which is very important to us. So if all blockchains are Marvel superheroes, so Tezos is like this character Rogue, which is an X-Men that basically she can touch you and take your power. That's kind of what in my kind of mind what Tezos is. But I think as
Great
a
analogy.
platform, yeah, I mean, as a platform, our ethos is very agnostic, right? So we are very inclusive. So we're the first platform that is going to be accepting for purchase of our NFTs, not only Tezos, because we're minting all our NFTs is minted on the Tezos blockchain, to the FA2 standard. But for payment, you can pay with a credit card or debit card using any one of 135 different fiat currencies, right? And you can also pay with Bitcoin, Ethereum, or USDC. So we're not trying to exclude the other blockchains. If you hold coins that has value or hold fiat currency that has value, you're all welcome to kind of really participate in this new platform, right? So that's kind of what we built, is kind of a very inclusive platform, because like I said, our goal is to really onboard the next 100 million users onto kind of the blockchain ecosystem. And the first use case for them need to be something as simple and easy and fun and non-threatening as collecting a collectible from your favorite artist, right? So it shouldn't be the first use case for blockchain shouldn't be you need to mortgage your house and like triple leverage to buy some coin you don't know it's doing, right? So so that's kind of what we think is going to actually really onboard and educate a lot of newer users, and that is going to do having 100 million new users onto different blockchain and understand what blockchain can certainly do a lot for the ecosystem and the existing kind of price action for everything.
Absolutely. And I think we've seen that when people start to dig in a bit or hear about NFTs, they get excited about the potential of blockchain technology and are learning more. More and more artists are getting involved. We had a huge influx of newbies into the space earlier this year. Back in May, we did an NFT event. So anyone who's just tuning in, this is the REIMAGINE 2021 virtual conference series. We've got a YouTube channel. Head over there, smash that subscribe button, check out some of our awesome interviews for our NFT event called State of the Art Chain. And yeah, I think it's so great that you are focusing on a technology that you think is future proof. For anyone who wants to learn more about Tezos, we've also done interviews with some of their the founding team of Tezos and the writers of the white paper. So again, head over to our YouTube and learn more about Tezos. But speaking of all of the new interest in NFTs and artists coming into the space, your background in entertainment has really poised OneOf to be really successful and bring on some really big names. Can you tell our viewers who are some of the people behind this project and what are some of your big announcements for collaboration?
Yeah, so I can't really take credit on the music side of things. So I have two great partners. So basically when we started building this technology on Tezos, other than getting a lot of kind of input from some of the label teams that we have, I called up one of my really good friend, Josh Shaves, who is a successful entrepreneur in his own right, sold his last company to Billboard. So the company before that built a company and sold to Warner Music Group. And I was describing this, and Josh was like, what is an NFT? And I explained the whole thing to him, and he's like, we had to call Adam. So Josh calls Adam, which is our other friend. So Adam Fell is a partner with Quincy Jones and is the president of Quincy Jones Productions. Now, Quincy is a legendary
legend,
a legend in music and champion artist rights and over 70 years. But and people may not know, Quincy's very technology forward. Adam has led Quincy's investment in project and lots of technology company, including Spotify, very early on. So this is kind of a thesis that really got them very interested, right? So Adam's first question was like, what is an NFT? And then, once we got over that hump, they really kind of immediately saw the potential what this could do for the music industry. So Adam came on board as our third co-founder and really kind of start working with us to kind of educate and bring NFT to major artists. So we have announced kind of partnerships with about a dozen artists, from Whitney Houston to Doja Cat, her. Quincy Jones will have a multiple collections from, you can imagine kind of 70 years of the content that's in his vault, right? We also have John Legend, Alesso, the Kid Leroy, Aurora. So forgetting someone, G-Eazy. So there are tons of artists kind of that represent different genre as well as different stages in their career, right? So it's not just for kind of major artists. Major artists can certainly sell collections for very high prices, but also it's for emerging artists, right? Imagine we all have those moments where we're like, oh, we know that band when before they were famous, right? So
Yeah.
I used to say like, hey, the Chainsmokers DJ'd my assistant's birthday party on my rooftop like before they were famous, but like I don't have
Oh my
anything to prove that,
gosh.
right? So like, now you can prove you are the true fan. You are one of the first, you were one of the 50 people that joined that birthday party, and then you bought an NFT, or the artist gave you a free NFT to prove it. So that's kind of what we can talk about. This could be something that technology can apply to artists in the beginning of their career, when they can sell something for $1 or $5, right? That later on, as they keep trading in a secondary marketplace, artists will always receive a percentage of secondary royalty that's in perpetuity paid to an artist. That's a huge innovation for the music vertical.
Absolutely. Oh man, I'm just thinking about some of the bands that I love that are touring now for $300 tickets. And I'm like, dang it, I hate when they get too popular, but good for them.
You could have, right, you could have been there, have their first edition NFT. So this is what we can, like, what we want to democratize, right? We want, and artists want to do this too. Artists want to be on a green platform. They want to be able to sell to their average fan an NFT for $5, $10. Right. So they don't want to just cater to the crypto whales. So we, I think we basically build a technology because the minting cost is pennies. Artists have a full canvas to construct and paint on their vision, and make sure it's kind of accessible to the average fans. Music's always been very democratizing, right? Art is always kind of had this like kind of connotation of being very like highbrow and expensive and like not for the masses, but music's always been for the masses. So you can't really apply a technology that really have music collectible to be in the hands of a few, when what we are trying to do is just make sure the technology is in place for so it's accessible by all the fans.
Oh, absolutely. I'm such a believer of that. And during our NFT event, it came up a lot that music is kind of the great equalizer. Everybody likes music, and you get such a diversity of people who maybe like the same band, and when you combine that with crypto, it just the potential for adoption just is exponential. So I think it's really great what you're doing at OneOf. Another question I had that I think people might be curious about is the name. So what is OneOf referring to, and how did you come up with the name?
Yeah, we came up with some lots of very nerdy names before this. So one of is, we wanted a name that like people can easily understand. So in NFT terms, right? So there's our one, you can get an NFT that is a one of one. It could be one of 10. It could be one of 1,000. So I think one of is kind of like, represent that idea. You have a unique item of a collection. So that's kind of what we went with it.
Oh, absolutely. That makes total sense. I have prints from artists that are, the limited prints that they made. So it'll say like 5 of 25 or 1 of, 100. That's
Exactly.
great. I love that. Well, that's so awesome. Lots of exciting artists that a lot of people tuning in are probably love and listen to. So check out oneof.com to learn more about what they're doing. And just to wrap up this segment, this is our 10th anniversary event. We launched in May at the height of COVID lockdowns. We had been building community and doing in-person events and education for years. But then suddenly everyone's locked inside, and we thought, how can we continue this, continue to steward the community we've built, and continue to bring content and education to people? So launched a virtual conference series, and we're kind of celebrating our wins from the last year. So want to hear from you, how have you seen, what have you observed in the crypto space, the NFT space? How was the last year for you, and kind of forward looking as well? What do you see the future holds?
Yeah, it's been a very different year. right, than any before. So I think part of this is you really see the technology adoption curve. I don't think NFT could have happened in any other years. I mean, NFT technology existed 2.5 years ago, right? So, I think when I was presenting to major label heads in January 2020, there was kind of there were interest, but like definitely wasn't a like let's do this now kind of attitude. I think it wouldn't just collectibles in general really had a renaissance, baseball cards, and leading to digital collectibles, and our interactions and how we adopted to work and life is very different now, right? Like we're literally doing this interview on Zoom right now that what wouldn't have happened before. So I think that, and what we saw also is a change. What I observe and I'm part of is kind of a change of demographic shift around and geographic shift of people and talent and resources. I'm a 20-year New York veteran, right? So I am a New Yorker. Like if you ask anyone, and I moved to Florida, like half of New York, during the pandemic, and now we basically, have kind of the idea that like we believe that like, hey, Miami is potentially kind of the new crypto city or crypto capital of the U.S. There's just so much attention and company and VCs and other innovative founders moving there. The vibe is completely different, right? Before for New York, it's like Miami. You come down, you vacation for the weekend, and you're like, like there's nothing else. There's no real work being done here, and I'm back. So I think there's a real shift in kind of shuffling of kind of the technology centers, right? So a lot of San Francisco people and LA people are moving to Austin as well. So New York is having a very strong comeback, which I'm super happy about. But I think also specifically for where blockchain meets arts meets music, Miami is kind of a very good place to be. So we're setting up a new headquarters in addition to our LA headquarters in Miami as well. So that's kind of a, also, I don't think would have happened if it wasn't for kind of the pandemic situation. I think we would have been a New York / LA company.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. Yeah, a lot of people moving to Miami. I was just there for the Bitcoin conference, and we've got members on the Mouse Belt team who are interested in sticking our flag there as well. So looking forward to meeting up with you there, especially for Art Basel. We have our own art and media content strategies and things that we're doing at REIMAGINE and Mouse Belt. So excited about all of the combinations of Hollywood, music, art, Miami, and then I'm here in Denver. So lots of exciting things coming. Thank you so much for telling us all about OneOf and your super interesting background and talking to students about that passion and combining it with crypto. Anything else to add? Where can people find you, and who do you want to hear from?
Yeah, we're definitely check out oneof.com, and if there's any artist that we announce is your favorite artist, just sign up for that wait list. We have actually a lot more artists we haven't announced yet. We're planning over 200 drops in the first 12 months. So there'll be lots of really great collectibles for you. So and if you want to reach me, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram. It's just the points die. So it's like the points guy, but my last name is DAI. So you can shoot me a message there. And also, if you are in the blockchain space, crypto space, if you're a developer, if you are a blockchain BD person, we'd love to hear from you. So we're a very fast growing company and look for we love to connect with talents of all scale levels. So
excellent. Yes. Sure, there's a lot of people passionate about working in that industry that might want to join your team. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everyone for tuning in to Reimagine 2021 virtual conference series. This is our 10th anniversary event, and we've been speaking with Lin Dai, the CEO and co-founder of the new green NFT platform, OneOf. Thanks again, Lin, for joining us.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more, everybody.